It's about 7 in the morning, and I feel, as you can hear, I feel incredibly sick. I've had a fever all night, but there's air sirens going off now, and so I woke up from this fever dream to air sirens, and I'm not too sure. I know this is commonly happening now near Lviv as well, and I'm hearing these very dull thoughts in the background. I'm not too sure if those are bombings or just something like doors closing further on in the hotel. But anyway, just to be sure, I'm going to head down into the check-in and see if they have a protocol. If this is a normal situation of any aircraft passing into the airspace, or if there's some sort of protocol to how we should respond to this. So I'll get back to you. Hey everybody, this is Future Frank from my hotel room in the center of Lviv, and this is the city where most of the journalists are stationed that are reporting on this war. And since I've just settled a bit here, I've been here for about 2 days now, and I've hit up the media center and registered there and got my bearings and start being able to work. So I have some time now to update you guys and post another vlog about what's happened so far. And the first thing you may want to know is what happened after those air sirens went off. Well, it was my first time hearing them, so I went outside to see what the deal was and how we should respond to that. And actually, after a few minutes, they stopped and everybody was kind of chill again as I was outside. So I figured it was not a big deal at the moment. It later appeared that 4 missiles had hit a region very far from Lviv. And luckily, of those 4 missiles, 3 were intercepted by Ukrainian air defenses before they could hit any targets. And at the time it was not sure what the final missile had hit. If it was aimed at the military target and most likely missed it because of the intercept. But anyway, since then the air sirens here in Lviv have gone off a few times during the day, a few times at night, and most of the time. When I was in the center, some people would just continue about their lives, drinking their coffee, having to walk, shopping, and other people would look for cover under stone archways or bridges or tunnels. So based on that, I can only imagine that it's been a rather common occurrence over the past few weeks here to hear those air sirens go off here in Lviv. And some of my other experiences here have been very contrasting. On the one hand, Lviv is an awesome, beautiful, little classic medieval European city that would be, if not for situation, the loveliest little holiday destination. But that's what's so strange about it too, because the entire country is just permeated with the reality of war. Even though the main combat is very far away from here, and missile strikes in the region have been luckily very sparse here in the west. It's still just everywhere. There's roadblocks everywhere. People checking your ID, and the soldiers at these roadblocks, they carry machine guns, worn-looking machine guns, and it's not like it's not weird for a checkpoint in any country to have armed policemen, but these are just combat-ready militaries. They have magazines covering their whole body. It's a totally different. It's a very different, very acute, very distressing vibe for everybody. You can notice it anytime these air sirens go off. People get nervous, look around, check their phones for the live updates, and there's just military presence everywhere. There's military trucks driving through the city, soldiers, and there's just reminders of what's going on in the rest of the country. Like there's people just randomly crying in the street, and you know why that is, and there's people in train stations that have come from the east, that have fled here from the east, and you can see how tired they are, exhausted from traveling for days and days, and maybe having lost their home
um, if not people, and you can really see it in their faces. So although I would say so far Lviv has felt safe, it's just inescapable reality of what's going on here, and the contrast with the spring that just broke, and people going about their day and opening their shops, but still, yeah, it's just this strange sort of jarring contrast. And anyway, the first thing I did when I came here is I went to the media center, because all journalists that arrive here to report should report to the media center first, and you get registered, and you get your Ukrainian press card, which I got here, and then they brief me on what the codes of conduct are and what I can and cannot film, which I was very happy with, because there was a lot of uncertainty about what was okay to film and what wasn't. And I leaned heavily on the conservative side, and actually filmed as little as possible. And everything that I did film, I made sure it was far away from any military points or any points of logistic interest. And all the footage I kept on a device with no Wi-Fi, and kept it in little memory cards in my bag, because I wanted to get it checked first to see if it was okay. So I filmed almost nothing on my trip through Ukraine because of this reason. I'm sure you've seen on the news that filming has caused some issues here in the war with Ukrainian soldiers, but mostly volunteer soldiers and just random people, random Ukrainians too, filming missile attacks and then posting them on TikTok, and then inadvertently giving away their position to Russians who were sleuthing, absolutely non-stop sleuthing the internet for any bit of info they can find, and then actually live adjusting their aim based on what they see on TikTok, or just searching social media for a military base in the background, or a bunker, or a roadblock. Everything of military nature can be useful for the Russians, and believe me, they are just combing through every little bit of media that they can. So I filmed almost nothing. I was very conservative with that. But as I got briefed on what I could and couldn't film, I was basically told that it's fine to film anything in the city center and in rural areas. Anything you can film except for anything pertaining to the military. So no military vehicles, no military uniformed officers, no roadblocks, no bunkers. Stuff like that. And obviously you cannot film, for the reason I just stated, obviously you cannot film missile strikes hitting or missing targets, or just any impact whatsoever. Any military action you cannot film, because that can be used as intelligence for the Russians. So I had my footage, just to be sure. I went over all the footage that I did have, and they said, yeah, that's perfectly okay to publish. So I was relieved to know what I could and could not film, could not publish. So I will be showing you guys, just to give you a bit of an insight, I will show you guys the journey through Ukraine I've had so far up until Lviv. But just for a bit of levity before that, I want to tell you the sort of funny thing that happened the moment the air sirens went off and I went outside. Because as I went outside to ask what the procedure was, and everything was chill again, I figured, well, I'm outside already. Why not just go to the pharmacy now, get some medicine? So I figured I'd do that. But before I did that, I went to the reception of the hotel because I wanted to get some water. Because I had a fever all night and had these fever dreams. And you know, sometimes you wake up after a sweaty, feverish night and all you want is the perfect sip of water. So I went to the hotel desk, and that is nice fridge for the water, plastic water bottles. And then at the top there, I saw this premium glass water bottle. Beautiful Ukrainian spring water. The glass slightly fogged over with the coldness, crisp coldness of this water. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna treat myself to the premium glass water bottle. So I got that, and it sort of looked like a vodka bottle, which is important a bit later on in the story. And also, because I was sick, I thought it may have been the old Roni coming back to bite me again. So just to be sure, I put on a mask because I didn't want to, if it was Corona, I didn't want to infect anybody with it, of course. So I put the mask on, and I was walking with this glass bottle down the street to the pharmacy. And at some point, I stopped walking to check my phone because I was checking the live Ukraine map to see if it had been, the air alarm had actually been a strike somewhere close by. So I was checking this map, and coincidentally, behind me was a train yard. Like it was close to my hotel, and I just stopped at a random spot to check the internet, check the combat map, and it was coincidentally a train yard. So an old lady came by walking her dog, and she saw me. And she saw me there, standing at the train yard, phone in hand, mask on, bottle in my hand. And she said, "Are you a separatist? I think you're a separatist, and I'm going to call the police." So she took her phone out of her pocket, and I was a bit confused. Like, I'm not a separatist. And then she said, "Then why are you filming the train station? Do you want to attack it?" So I was like, no, I'm just checking the Ukraine combat map. And I showed her the map I was checking. And she was still really skeptical. And I was like, "Are you sure you're not a separatist? Because I'm not too sure you are." And so I just pulled the mask down a little to be a bit more open. And she was still so suspicious of me. And then she said, "If you are not a Russian separatist, then why do you have a bottle of vodka with you at 7 in the morning?" And then I showed her the bottle, and I showed her it was water. And for some reason, that was her main concern. And the moment she saw it was water, she was like, oh, it's fine, you're not a separatist. And she just walked on. So I guess the stereotypes about Russian and vodka, they also hold very strong in Ukraine. And I thought it was a comical little moment of the convalescence of all the things I did that day to make me seem extremely suspicious early in the morning. Anyway, here's some footage from my trip that is okay to upload. And I hope it will give you a bit of an insight into how my journey has been so far. And I'll keep you updated.
Hey, good morning from sunny, beautiful Ukraine. I'm at the hotel now, and I'm super hungry. Why? Because I've only had one little box of instant mashed potatoes in the past 12 hours. So we're gonna see if we can get some breakfast. But I just found my first obstacle. The gate is closed. However, we can squeeze through here, can't we? Let's go and see if we can find something to eat. Whew. Wow, look what a hefty engine is responsible for the opening and closing of this gate. I mean, it's a super heavy gate, so it makes sense, but look at that. It looks almost like a steampunk thing, doesn't it? Can you imagine this whirring into action, like pulling this massive gate open? But it looks so rusted, I'm not sure if it still functions. I couldn't see what this place looked like yesterday, because I arrived when it was already pretty dark. But it's abandoned industrial area. Well, judging by the gate here, I think this abandoned little building used to be a little toll house, maybe a Soviet era guardhouse, to check the comings and goings of the people passing through the gate. But now it seems like it's become somewhat of a den for chilling for the local hoodlums. There's sock here, juice, and if there's juice in Eastern Europe, it means there is very likely also vodka. Yeah, I think that's a dusty vodka bottle there. Some graffiti, a bottle of hooch, and a toilet. Which is extremely useful after the amount of liquid consumption I see on the ground here. So Maxim just told me that his family, his wife and his 2 children, they are in Poland. They are just over the border of Lviv, where 3 million refugees passed through. And they are safe there, of course, and he's very happy about that. The thing is, he cannot leave, being a man of fighting age. He's basically stuck here. He's only 27 years old, just started a family, so it's a very sad thing. All these young men, they're stuck here, and most of them have managed to get their family out of harm's way. but I imagine they worry very much on the other side of the border. So I'm here right in the middle of the countryside near Ternipol, and I lucked out finding a fantastic little inn operated by Andre here. Andre. And there's another family staying with me. Also Andre.
Yes, yes.
And Andre just came with his family from Kharkov. They fled from Kharkov, which has of course been on very heavy assault. And he is here with his son Malenki Yaroslav.
Ярослав.
Malenki Yaroslav. And his wife and his mother. And they're trying to get.
Уехали мы из Харькова, потому что русские сильно бомбят из самолетов и крылатыми ракетами, и ракетами «Искандер». Постоянно в Харькове слышатся взрывы, разрушаются дома. 600 домов разрушено. 600 разрушены здания обладминистрации. Разрушен завод ХТЗ, разрушен. Ну, невозможно уже было в Харькове находиться под постоянными обстрелами. Поэтому мы вынуждены были, чтобы спасать жизнь маленькому мальчику, уезжать из города. И наша судьба теперь непонятна. Где мы, что мы и как мы дальше будем жить. Но Украина победит. Слава Украине!
Slava Ukraine, спасибо.
Героям слава!
Спасибо. Спасибо. Спасибо большое. So as you can see, people from cities that are heavily hit, like Kharkov, of course they're forced to flee their homes, and while life goes on, relatively uninterrupted for people like Andre, who owns this inn, which I'll show you later. People from the cities to the east that have been under heavy assault, especially Kharkiv, are forced to flee their homes and then make it to the Polish border, where they will be helped. They can't stay here because the resources are just not here to stay here long term, which there are in Poland. So they're making it through the country to the west. Probably they will cross the border from Lviv, and then go from there. But even for people like the owner of the inn, he lives here with his son, but his wife, his son's child, they're all in Italy. Preemptively, they have evacuated to Italy, and of course they themselves, Andre and his son, they cannot leave because of the martial law. So while they are still here working as normal, it's very tense. They're both following the news non-stop. So they can help people from the heavily hit regions, but for themselves it's a tense situation too. It's an extremely jarring contrast hearing Andre talk about his experiences in Kharkov and his pleas for help there. And on the other hand, we're in this super quiet. We're in this quiet little rural countryside. It's a tiny village with just a few houses, and you can imagine that normally this would be such an idyllic inn. Look, the owner of the inn, he built this all himself. He's a craftsman and a hunter, and I actually wanted to show you this cute inn in the hopes that once Ukraine becomes somewhat accessible again, that you would give it a shot and visit Andre's inn. But it feels kind of out of place to make a little light-hearted vlog now after the conversation I just had. But I'll just rudimentarily show you the place anyway, because he's such a nice man, Andre, and he's helping these people, helping these refugees. So I will show you this inn, and I will tell you the address, and I really hope that once Ukraine is stable again, that you will give him a visit, because it's by far the best inn I've ever stayed. It's so rustic. Again, I keep on using this comparison, but it truly is like a Turgenev story about the Russian countryside. So Andre, and his sons, what they do is they make pelts. Hey, это хорошо, я film.
Film? Okay.
Okay. They what they do is the rabbits come from all of Ukraine, and they dry the pelts and they.
Знімати хочеш, так?
Ну,
Снимати.
як ми работаємо.
Работаю, yeah, да.
Як ми работаємо.
Работа. He was like, should we just continue working? I was like, yeah, please. What they do is they collect the pelts. There are fox pelts and a lot of rabbits. Krolik, да? A lot of rabbit pelts, and they dry them. They dry them. There's a lot here as well, and then they press them. They press them into bales, and those bales they get shipped out to Portugal, and in Portugal they, as far as I understood it, they make hats with them. Maybe other stuff too, but they were talking about hats primarily. You see, they get pressed into bales here, and then get shipped to Portugal. So besides having the inn and some interesting hobbies like accordion playing, Andre also has a pelt export business. But I think the main thing is beautiful inn, and he made everything himself. He made a little bridge. I think he carved the statues. He made these cool towers. So as you may have guessed by all the pelts, Andre is quite the hunter, and he told me that he shot this bear himself many years ago in this very region, actually. That's the hat I think he wore, he told me, when he shot him. And then this is the trophy, the bear, Mietviet. Andre just told me that he's actually from Poland, and he came to live here because of the great deportations right after the Second World War that displaced millions of ethnic Polish people deeper into Soviet territories like the Ukraine, some far into Russia, and that's how he ended up here. And since then he has built quite a place for himself. So the name of the place is Lemkivsky Hutir, and I'll write it down in the description, so as you can see how to write it. And if stuff settles down here in Ukraine soon or later, and you're watching this in the future, and you want to help Andre because of the nice stuff he's doing here for the refugees, and just because his inn is absolutely beautiful, then maybe book it for a night. It's I paid about 20 euros, and I have my own little cabin which has a sauna in the rustic Ukrainian countryside. Lemkivsky Hutir. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And his wife's soup is delicious, and he built his own wood stove jacuzzi. And right now everything's very professoric, but I can imagine if it's spring here and it's peaceful in Ukraine, then you'll have a fantastic time here in Lemkivsky Hutir with the chickens, huh? So I was having a nice Ukrainian breakfast with Andrei and his wife Sveta, and we had some chliepy masla, bread and butter. Then he popped out the delicious homemade jam. Вы делаешь? Очень вкусно.
Кисленький, это смородина.
Смородина. Nice homemade jam. He popped open. Nice breakfast with some tea, and then we're getting ready to get on the road to Lviv. Очень спасибо, очень вкусно.
Хорошо.